Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
How's it going, everybody? Full disclosure, I am recording and releasing this video prior to the final game of the first half for the Yankees. So if anything happens in the final game against the Cubs, it will obviously not be included in this video. But I wanted to kind of just sit down and, for my own benefit, look at the roster, look at the standings, look at the league, and just kind of get a feel for how good of a chance the Yankees really have going forward in the second half. Now, they are 49-41 at the time of this video. They are tied with the Toronto Blue Jays, who got no hit yesterday, a combined no-hitter from the Detroit Tigers. Anyway, they are tied for third place, or fourth place if you want to call it that. They are 5 games behind the Baltimore Orioles and 7 games behind the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, if you think about how poorly the Yankees have played over the last several days, going back to that loss of a series in St. Louis, you really go 3-3 on the West Coast trip, and then the Yankees obviously split with Baltimore after winning the first 2 games. Not ideal. They lost the first game to the Cubs. They had a chance to make up some ground in the division, and they have let it slip through their fingertips. So obviously not what you want. So we're just going to go player by player and kind of talk through things here. Jose Trevino, let's start there at the catching position. Hitting .211, obviously terrible. 59 OPS plus. Now, he's a good defensive player. Platinum glove catcher. And typically you wouldn't really ask for much offense from the catching position if you're getting platinum glove quality defense. But because the Yankees' offense has been so abysmal this half, you're seeing a lot of people call for Trevino to possibly be replaced with somebody who can hit. The Yankees do have some better hitting catchers in the minor leagues. Ben Roarkbeck hitting over 300, and he's a good catcher. We saw him a little bit this season. You've got Austin Wells, former first-round draft pick, playing pretty well at AA, not hitting for a huge average, but we hear that he's catching the ball pretty well and he's shown some power. So the catching position, you would like to get some better offense, but if you have to sacrifice offense at that position for the better defense, you can live with it. What the Yankees really need is more offense from the guys who are supposed to be providing you offense. Anthony Rizzo got off to a very good start, headed into this game. The final game of the first half, he's hitting .258, 11 home runs, 38 RBIs, but that doesn't really tell the story. He got off to a very good start, and then Tatis ran into him on a pickoff play at first base, kind of hurt his neck, missed about a week, has not been the same since. In fact, he's been horrible since. Gleyber Torres hitting .249, 13 home runs, 36 RBIs, got a .738 OPS, 105 OPS plus. I think he's been solid. He's 26 years old. He's in his prime. He's having a typical Gleyber Torres season. I don't think that we should really cast any of the blame on him. Yeah, he has some mental lapses on the bases from time to time, and he's not the greatest at turning double plays from the second base position, but there's a lot bigger problems on this roster than Gleyber Torres, so I'm going to leave that there. Anthony Volpe obviously played much better over the last month. He's in a little bit of a slump right now, but it's not one of those slumps where he's being overmatched. He's actually hit the ball hard and hit it right at some guys. Overall this season, hitting .215. He's got 12 home runs, got 31 ribbies. He's stolen 16 bases. He's been caught twice. Got a .675 OPS and an .87 OPS plus. So he's been below average in terms of his offense, but he's getting better. There was a 15 or 16 game stretch there where he hit about .370, so that's encouraging. That shows him that he can have success at this level. He's seen that he can hit the ball out of the ballpark. I don't think there's any question that in the future, he's a 30-30 guy. This year, he's probably going to not steal as many bases as we thought because he's just not getting on base as much as he was, and the league has kind of caught onto his base stealing / leadoff style. He got picked off. He likes to get that big jump and try and screw up pitchers' timing, maybe draw a couple of throws, and then take advantage of the new rules where you're only given a couple of pickoff throws or disengagements. I like what we're seeing from Anthony Volpe so far. We're seeing improvements. He's obviously a kid with a lot of talent who needs a little bit of polish, but he's getting there, and he is far from my biggest concern at this point. DJ LeMahieu is quickly becoming one of my bigger concerns. 34 years old, and it looks like he's about 44 years old. He's hitting .220, 7 home runs, 27 ribbies. He struck out 71 times in 273 at-bats. That is a lot for him. A lot. Volpe, by the way, struck out 97 times already this season, so he's going to have probably close to over 200 strikeouts maybe. Oswaldo Cabrera obviously made the team coming out of spring training, made a splash last season, has been kind of one of the utility guys for the Yankees, not doing the offensive things that he was doing last year, hitting just .204, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs. He is a switch hitter, but really has not done the kind of damage that you expect from him after watching what he did last season. So, just hope that he turns it around, that it's been a slump or whatever. I have thought that he's looked better lately. He's hit more balls in the air. He's hit more balls hard. He's primarily played left field, and I think that that's the position that the Yankees are most likely to upgrade. I don't know who exactly they're going to get. Cody Bellinger is an option. We've talked a little bit about Lars Nootbaar should the Cardinals decide to have a fire sale. We've seen the name Tommy Pham floated out there should the Mets decide to undo things a little bit. But there's got to be some kind of a move to inject offense, and I think right now left field is the most obvious spot. Harrison Bader has been okay. He's hitting .259. He's got 7 home runs. He's not getting on base at a great clip. That's why you don't see him leading off very much. He's got just a .288 on base percentage. And obviously you have to factor in the amount that somebody takes the field when you're evaluating them. And frankly, he's missed a lot of time via injuries. I want to see a really solid and really healthy second half from Harrison Bader before I even consider re-signing him. I know a lot of fans like what he brings to the table. They like the speed and they like the outfield defense. But to me, you got to be on the field more. Aaron Judge, what can you say? He was having an MVP-type season. That will not happen now. I think Shohei has pretty much locked that up already. But Judge, before he got hurt, was hitting .291, 19 home runs, 40 ribbies. It remains to be seen if he will play again this season, or if he does play, what level he's going to play at. He has said that he's preparing to play through pain. Now, you'd prefer that someone didn't have pain, but if it's at a point where you can tolerate it and you can treat it with some kind of, lidocaine or painkillers or whatever you need to do and get him back in the lineup, he's just too big of a threat to have him completely off the roster as he's been for the last now month and a week. I recently spoke to Max Goodman, who suggested that he should be back in early August. I've actually heard some reports that he could be back even sooner than that. He's already throwing in the outfield, but we've also heard some, commentary that he might not be back this season. So really the jury is still out. I hope that we see him right after the break. Giancarlo Stanton, hitting .208, 9 home runs, 23 RBIs. Now, Stanton hit a couple of home runs yesterday. He hit one of the longest home runs you'll ever see at Yankee Stadium off the facing of the 4th deck. Obviously, he presents a threat to pitchers. He hits the ball as hard as anybody. But at 33 years old, you're really starting to see him have diminishing returns year in and year out. You look at the numbers last season, and they weren't good. He hit .211. Now, he did hit 31 home runs. He showcased power, but he had an on-base percentage under 300, just .297, an OPS at .759. It's the first time in his entire career that he had an OPS under 800. And this year, it's at .716, so he's trending in the wrong direction. If you go back to 2019, 894, 2020, 887, 2021, 870. 2022, 759, and then this year, 716. So he's just trending in the wrong direction in terms of his production. Look, I still love Giancarlo Stanton. I love his clutch ability, but you have to be worried that, this is really the fall-off point. No, he does have the power. We saw it yesterday, but those were pitchers that he should crush. He seems to be overmatched by the really elite pitching right now, and maybe that's just age and reaction time. I don't know, but we need to see more out of Giancarlo going forward, and he knows that too, and the Yankees organization knows that, and the fans know that. But he's been very good at times in the playoffs for the Yankees, so that's earned him a lot of credit in the bank, so he's not really catching the boos like a lot of Yankees fans boo Donaldson or booed Hicks. Now, sometimes you'll hear boos for Giancarlo, and you're certainly seeing more comments in these post-game shows and, on other videos where people are talking about Stanton, where, the vocal part of the fan base is kind of done with Stanton. But I'm going to stick with him. I still think there might be something in there. To me, his legs are shot, so I don't love seeing him in the outfield. He can't run, and you worry about him anytime he has to sprint. Now, I get this was kind of an absurd situation, an absurd, recommendation that the Yankees, see if Nelson Cruz was interested in coming in as a DH coach. And even if it's not Cruz, we need somebody to teach Giancarlo Stanton how to just mash, how to make that his whole game. Quit trying to play the outfield. Quit trying to run. Don't worry about taking extra bases. Just stay in the lineup and mash. Josh Donaldson obviously hitting 146. He's shown power. He's had 108 plate appearances, and he's got 10 home runs in 96 at-bats. That's really good. It's like a 50 home run pace, but he's hitting 146. He's got 14 hits, and 10 of them are home runs. So essentially, if he hits it, it's crushed, but he just doesn't hit it enough. He struck out 30 times. Jake Bauers has done a pretty nice job. He's on the IL right now. You would expect his numbers to be better from watching him play. He's hitting 224, but he's got 7 home runs. He's got 19 extra base hits in 154 plate appearances. IKF been kind of a utility guy this year, showing more power. He's got 5 home runs, 255 batting average. Honestly, I'm pleased with IKF in terms of the way he swung the bat. He's had some decent moments in the outfield, but he's also killed us a number of times out there. So, hey, before we get to the pitchers, quick thank you and shout out to the sponsor of today's episode, Game Time. Game Time is the best app for last-minute tickets on events in your area. It does have sports like baseball. You can get some great deals on Yankees tickets, but it's more than just sports. You can go to concerts, theater, whatever you want. There's even wrestling. It's got rainout protection. It's got job loss protection, and the prices are unbelievable. The app is itself very easy to use. You can look at your view from the seats that you're about to buy. There's basically pictures where you can hold up your phone and kind of scan around and see what your view of the stadium is going to be like. It's very cool. Technology these days is just getting to be outrageous. Use the code NYY Recaps for $20 off your first purchase and get the lowest price on last-minute tickets, guaranteed. On the pitching side of things, Garrett Cole picked up another win yesterday. He has been a formidable ace for the Yankees. He is 9-2 on the season, 2.85 ERA. He's made 19 starts. He's got 123 strikeouts and 117 innings. So he's been very effective. The home runs are down. He's allowed 11 home runs this year, but last year the home runs were a real problem, and this year he had a nice stretch to begin the season where he didn't allow them. Now, it's been worse lately, but overall, I'm not that worried about Garrett Cole, and I think he'll show up when he needs to show up in the postseason. Clark Schmidt, he's listed in Baseball Reference as the Yankees' number 2 starter. He has made 18 starts, second on the team, 87 1/3 innings. Now, just one less start than Garrett Cole, but, 30 less innings. That tells you the difference. He doesn't go really beyond 5 innings. Maybe he'll give you 5 1/3 sometimes. We've seen a good hook from him this year. We've seen better command. He's got 26 walks and 86 strikeouts, 4.43 ERA. He is 4-6. There was a time this year when you absolutely dreaded when Clark Schmidt would take the mound, but he's pitched pretty well over the last couple of months. You want him to get deeper into games. And honestly, now that Carlos Rodon is back, who we'll talk about in a second, the Yankees are going to have to pull somebody from the rotation, and I think it might be Luis Severino, who we will talk about right now, who is having a miserable season. Just a miserable season. He is 1-4. He's got a 7.38 ERA. He's made 9 starts, and really after the second or third start, he has not looked the same. He has not had the ability to put guys away. He's 29 years old. He's pitching for a contract, and this is not how he envisioned things going. He's got 42 2/3 innings, 37 strikeouts, 19 walks, so too many walks. And he has allowed 11 home runs. So he's allowed as many home runs as Garrett Cole in far fewer innings, like 80 less innings or so. I mean, it's tough to watch. You hope that he puts it together. There's just a little something missing off the fastball. And it's weird that, he's still throwing 98, but it's just that little bit of life, that little bit of movement that he's not getting. And the breaking ball, so sharp in his first couple of starts back, has not been the same. So you wonder if maybe he's pitching hurt, trying to earn some money, trying to avoid having the label of an injury-prone pitcher. But honestly, I'd rather be injury-prone than have a 7.38 ERA. Johnny Brito has pitched for the Yankees quite a bit this year. He's got a 4.70 ERA. He is 4-4, 51 2/3 innings, 35 strikeouts. I think he's a promising prospect. He's 25 years old. Might end up being a back-of-the-rotation guy for a long time. Maybe not with the Yankees, but, up and down with the Yankees this year. I could see him being used in some kind of a trade. He has shown good stuff. Nestor Cortez, 5-2, but with a 5.16 ERA on the season, and he's on the 60-day IL, which means we won't have him back until early August, which is, about 3.5 weeks away. Look, we have seen some issues with Nestor Cortez getting deeper into the game. He had some shoulder issues, and he's a smaller guy in terms of stature. And a lot of times those smaller guys can have shoulder troubles. So, just keep an eye on what he looks like when he comes back. Domingo Herman obviously threw the perfect game. That was definitely the high point of the season in terms of Yankees pitching. He's made 16 starts. He's got a 4.52 ERA. He is 5-5. You look at the numbers and you look at him pitch, and really it's a couple of bad starts that have, forced his ERA into the 4.5 range. He's actually made a number of very, very good starts for the Yankees. So I feel good about Domingo Herman going forward. Now, an issue with Herman in the past has been that he wears down in the second half. So that's going to be something to watch. The bullpen, what can you say? Clay Holmes has been phenomenal lately. Ron Marinaccio bounced back after a little bit of a tough stretch there. Michael King is dealing again after a tough stretch. We've seen Ian Hamilton step up and pitch very well this year, 2.03 this ERA, although he did miss some time with an injury. Wandy Peralta has a 2.62 ERA. Obviously, has also struggled more recently than we've seen him struggle with the Yankees. Albert Abreu did not want to be in the game the other night. He's got a 4.46 ERA. He is somebody that, can throw 100 and tantalizes you with his stuff. But unfortunately, just a mediocre pitcher in terms of results over his career. And obviously, Jimmy Cordero suspended for the whole season for a violation of the domestic violence policy. Carlos Rodon came back the other night. I thought he was solid. 5 1/3 innings, 2 earned runs, only 2 strikeouts, so not a big highlight reel. But I love what I saw from him in terms of energy and in terms of stuff. I like what we've seen so far from Randy Vasquez. He's thrown 15 1/3 innings so far at the major league level, 1.17 ERA. Kind of got a little bit of a Marcus Stroman vibe from his mechanics. Look, that's what we're looking at. In terms of trades, I don't know what's going to happen. I think the Yankees are going to focus on offense. I think they've got enough pitching to get it done. I think that Severino could be somebody that another team deals for, and the Yankees take a chance on getting some prospects back. Obviously, you don't want to sell low, but you're not going to re-sign him the way he's pitching. So I think he's a prime candidate to be moved. I could see the Yankees possibly trading Oswaldo Cabrera, who has not played much. He is on the 40-man roster. He hit 188 this year, but he's done a nice job at AAA. I could see the Yankees moving him in part of a package to get a left fielder or to help another area of the team. The Yankees have a lot of shortstop prospects beyond Volpe. They've still got Trey Sweeney. They've still got, Roderick Arias. So, he's definitely a prime trade candidate. And I think we've seen enough from Volpe that the Yankees are going to stick with him. Obviously he profiles better defensively.
Swing and a high fly ball right field. That one back on its way. Sockman delivers.
So the Yankees are probably going to stick with him. All right, we'll be back after the game with a post-game recap, but I just wanted to kind of put my thoughts together on, what's up with the team so far and how we're feeling going into the second half. Yankees need to do some work.